Hey, FlimsyLunchTray here, and welcome to World of Warships. Now, something I often talk about as I'm going to zoom in on this player lineup is talking about the lineup of ships you have, but also something that takes you from being an intermediate player to, I'd say, more of an expert player, is knowing the clans. So you can see the division on the enemy team. You have the Minotaur and the Z42. Those are Unicum clans, in addition to the K player, clan player, and then the Des Moines. And we also have a K Unicum player holding my beer in the Kleber. And knowing that as you start off a game gives you a lot of helpful information to know what skill level you may be up against. Now, I've had people ask me, Flimsy, how in the world do you remember these different clans and knowing the potential and the type of player base in these clans? And it's just something that has come with time, but also particularly watching the King of the Sea tournaments. When you have these different clans that you can expect some really good things from. And this is going to be quite the game that's going to go almost the entire distance within the 20 minutes of time allotted to us in this battle. So strap yourselves in. So today I'm featuring the tier 10 British battleship, the Conqueror, the OP classic fire burner within the game. And I played this ship a couple times in Airship Escort, but today this is actually my first video, first battle of the ship in randoms. And I've been playing, this was from Wednesday night when I was playing, and I've been playing the ship pretty much non-stop, Wednesday night, Thursday night, until today when I'm recording this video. And I've had some really good games. Have a really good win rate in the ship so far. And it's just been so fun playing the ship. Kind of taking things slow with AP, that's really good. HE, that's just fantastic. As with combat signals, I believe we can increase the fire chance up to a 50% chance of starting fire. As you can see, we already had 2 fires from the, I don't know if it was the Minotaur who already had to DCP that. So we went and took a pot shot at him because I felt confident that I could land a salvo here. Now, one thing that is a definite weakness that you have to be mindful of with the Conqueror is her broadside. So this Bourgogne does a really nice chunk of damage on us because here on the Conqueror you have an exposed citadel. Has over 400 millimeter armor on the side, but it is exposed, so you can actually aim above waterline and still punch right into the citadel. Here I've angled the way because the Minotaur is coming up and as Z42s come up, and so there's no need for me to stick around here, so I'm actually going to back off here. You may have noticed also too that I didn't just fire one whole salvo at the Minotaur, that I did sequential firing, and that is something that I encourage you if you are dealing with a player, maybe you're waiting to see what kind of move they're going to make. They're probably familiar with knowing that, hey, this Conqueror is looking at me. I'm going to do some things with the rudder. So you fire 1 or 2 turrets and see how they react, and then you can give them the remaining guns to help land some more damage. So right now, I'm going to just kite away here. For the time being, there's a Des Moines sitting over here, so we went ahead and took a shot at him with just 2 penetrations. I'll talk about the ship throughout this battle, but depending on what's happening, I'm going to be focusing more on the gameplay. So the Z42 has backed off behind the island. He's probably trying to get the health buff as this is an arms race. And the Minotaur is coming out to be able to get some AP on myself and the midway. So we're going to move to the left here where we don't have to really worry too much about the AP coming from the Minotaur. Because the Minotaur AP will definitely eat you up if you're showing broadside to that ship. So you want to be angled in or angled out, ideally away from the Minotaur. So the Napoli has taken out our enemy Kleber. Enemy Kleber has taken out our Napoli. So there's an exchange there, which is good. It's the best that we can ask for given the situation. But with the Minotaur still lingering around, not sure what the Z42 is up to. He's probably trying to get that health buff, I imagine. And indeed he does. And then both the Des Moines as well as the Montana, we're going to go ahead and angle back out here. Just don't feel confident to be able to push into this. As we kind of come over a little bit more towards our Vermont. Our Conqueror player is in a kiting position, So when you have this team pushing in like this, Conqueror does really well at playing the kiting role because of her damaging HE, really strong chances of setting fire on enemy ships, but also that her AP is not to be underestimated. So a lot of players will get comfortable with you, oh, it's just an HE spamming Conqueror, and then you switch to the AP and you'll catch them completely off guard and surprising them. So the Montana DCP'd his fire here, so I do communicate that in chat. And when I say DCP'd, damage control partied, so you say DCP or DCP'd. So I'm communicating with our Kleber mainly, and also maybe the Vermont fire some HE, because we want to focus this Montana down, ideally before he disengages and heals back up. He has, it's not a insanely powerful heal, but it's a heal that is good, but not as good as the Conqueror, which I'll talk a little bit more about when the time comes. So for now, even though we have these Des Moines pushing up, I'm still really wanting to focus the Montana. Now at some point we will change our attention to the Des Moines here and seeing what they're up to, but we just really don't want this Montana to come back to life here. So you can actually see our Kleber is even still shooting at the Montana as well, as we do have a fire ticking on him. We're on our 6th fire, and we'll fire another salvo as we lose. Our Des Moines takes out Daring and the Minotaur takes out our Salem. So each team has lost 3 ships, so it's still anybody's game at this point in time. So I'm still calling for focus fire on the Montana. Now you could say it'd been very easy for me to take a shot at that Des Moines Fox Plazo, the Unicum player there. But to me, I want to take out the Montana. So we actually switched to AP for that salvo, thinking that the Montana would give us some broadside. Indeed he did, and we were able to take him out. And we switched back to the HE, because this HE is really good. You can even HE Citadel a Minotaur with the HE of a Conqueror. Otherwise, if you use AP on a Minotaur, you're most likely just to do nothing but overpins. So the Des Moines jukes a little to the side here, and he's going to get behind the island. Now we go ahead and use our first heal here. Now the heal on the Conqueror is like the super specialized repair party. You can bring this ship back from death to half-life very easily, and it is just simply an amazing heal that you can have with this ship. Now we're not too worried about the other Des Moines that's behind the island here, because our friendly CV is focusing him, which is great. The Des Moines knows if he pushes out, he's going to have to deal with a Conqueror and a Vermont, so he's really not willing to, as our midway keeps chipping away at him, which is just fine by us. Now Minotaur is still in the mid. You have the enemy carrier who's in the background there behind the island, but we catch the Z-42. Now what I really like about the Conqueror is that her HE, you can do massive damage to destroyers, as we completely missed the Z-42 there. I think he had begun reversing. But you can do massive damage to destroyers. That's also one of the joys that I have with this ship. Sometimes when your thing collapses, you have a destroyer pushing you, and then you just decide to go ahead and kill the throttle, and then the enemy destroyer player ends up being surprised. And then you spot him, and then you can give him 6 of these. I think they're 419mm guns. I have to check, I don't remember. But we take out the Des Moines, and now we're focusing here on the Z-42. We want to be able to go bow into him because of the concern of torpedoes. As the enemy Minotaur takes out Des Moines, so he's having a pretty good game, and he will have a good game when we look at post-battle results. So we take off 2 guns, and then we fire the 2 remaining guns from the rear. I'm playing with my throttle. I'm not simply sailing in straight lines. I'm not simply just going straight constantly, but also dealing with the rudder when we're able to keep shifting and moving around. Now, our midway does spot the enemy Minotaur, so we are going to take a shot at him. And I'm going to go ahead and use the depth charges if the Z-42 has his AA up. I'm just a little curious to see where he might be. But we only land 1 shot on the enemy Minotaur. Now this isn't a good situation because Z-42 is spotting us, The Minotaur is smoked up, and this Des Moines is going to chill out here beside the side of the island. And so we're turning, we're angling, but then he uses his radar. So I go ahead and ping it, and I'm going to go ahead and get my guns turned on there because I keep expecting to be able to catch him out here, perhaps. But now we're going to be dealing with the broadside to the Minotaur and the Z42. So we're going to have to just do a complete turn again and sailing away and utilizing another one of our specialized repair parties. So the Kleber player is definitely going to go for his own clanmate here in the Des Moines. So I ping the map, kind of, notifying the Vermont, hey, like Des Moines coming out, pinging his attention. You can often do that. I have AP loaded. I've already switched for this, expecting for the Des Moines to push out as our Kleber dislodges him. And our Vermont gets a devastating strike. So that worked out fantastic for the Kleber to go in behind him rather in the forward. So give him a well done. That he was able to do such a thing so that myself and the Vermont would be at the ready. So pinging the minimap is also very helpful when you're trying to communicate with your team and try to get their attention that they might be tunnel visioned on something, and ping the map might help them realize, oh, there's a better opportunity here. And by doing so, we help the Vermont get that devastating strike. So the Kleber is going to say that he's going to go for the midway. Most of our team, none of our team is on the cap, so we need to go ahead and get on the cap. So I type to the Vermont, hey Vermont, let's go to the cap, and he acknowledges. So between both of our health pools, we should be able to do something meaningful, since the Yamato and the Bourgogne are all the way up on the A line, and kind of leaving this Z42 and the Minotaur out on their own. But the Z42 picks off I think it was a Kleber. They're doing a great job in the middle. So still anyone's game, as they definitely still have the lead, even though we have I think a one-ship lead. So I don't know if I've already noticed this or not, but the Kleber did communicate in chat that he was going to go for the CV. So he's going around here, but the CV's not there. So he's actually moved a little to the side there. So again, I go ahead and ping our Vermont, hey, Midway is running away. Not that I doubt the Kleber's ability to go ahead and kill the Midway, since he's not really moving, but we want to ensure that he goes down here. So I go ahead and take a shot, and there's the Vermont salvo, but the Kleber does indeed pick off the kill. Now, one of the mistakes that the Vermont is doing here, and I really should have said something in chat, I got distracted by the CV. And that is that the Vermont has been pretty much sailing a straight line. I've been more nose in, if you look at the minimap to where the Z42's location was last detected. The Z42 player, he is smart, and he knows that we need to come contest the cap. And if we do not contest the cap, we lose, they win. And so since the Vermont was sailing straight lines, it makes torpedoes rather predictable for him here. So the Vermont is definitely low. He did not die, but he's really low, and so we need to do what we can to try to support him here. But I go ahead and decide to take a shot at the Yamato in the back, and just as I do, the Z42 player was wise. He waited for that. The Minotaur also at the same time, they both jump on the chance to be able to take out the Vermont here. So it's a really well done play by both of them. And now I'm concerned about torpedoes from the Minotaur, even though he's actually 10-kilometer torpedo range. So, but we could be sailing into that, even though he's kind of sailing a little bit away to get into the smoke screen. So we get a nice little salvo on the Minotaur again. And I asked the Yoshino that I need his support. I need him to get off the 10 line to come over here on the side here, because the situation is not looking good at the moment. And there's the Minotaur torpedoes, so we're going to sail out around this way. And I'm not going to be shooting at the Bourgogne or the Yamato. I'd rather hold on to my shot for right now in case the Z42 comes out, as I am RPF'd. And we are going to take one torpedo here, and so we're going to have to use the damage control party for that. I'm not really worried about trying to finish off the Yamato. Our Kleber is playing fantastic, and I have confidence in him. Something that really helps when you're playing with really good players and you recognize that they're good players, is that you can have the confidence in their abilities. But the Minotaur player is now detecting me. No, I guess not. I guess it's probably the Z42 has perhaps opened up some distance here. The concealment, I think max concealment, which I do have now after the couple battles after this battle, is 12.3 kilometers. Otherwise, right now, I think it's 13.4. Perhaps I'll have to see when we go dark, when we go behind the island here. So you can get some very nasty concealments. I definitely recommend building into concealment here on Conqueror, because it's just amazingly fun. 13.7, 13.7, that's right. So 13.7 without concealment on the commander, but we have concealment on the in the upgrade slot. So, so I'm basically making a standard build with the commander of the ship, but I'll talk about an upgrade commander build with the Conqueror tomorrow. So we have found ourselves on the cap. The Minotaur and the Z42 are both over to my left, and it's very common that when you go behind an island, just kill the throttle because there's likely torpedoes on the way. And I'm pretty sure those were the Z42 torpedoes. So there's no need. There's no need for me to just turn and start chasing the Z42 and the Minotaur, and give too much side to the Bourgogne here, because we need to be able to finish him off. And I need to give my Yoshino time. I need to give my Kleber time. I need to give my Midway time. So I'm relying on my team here to be able to come in here and help me deal with the Minotaur and the Z42, because I can still die very much in a hurry. I only have one heal left. We've done 2.5 million potential damage. I pinged the map that I'm wanting the, particularly I was wanting the CV to do the spotting here, but the Kleber has acknowledged. And we're just going to take our time coming around the island here. One of the things I don't want to happen is the Z42 player to just simply yellow me and come around the backside of the island. But that has not happened yet, and I don't think he's would do that in this situation, knowing that the CV could easily spot him doing such a thing. So we're just still gonna just take our time here. Our Yoshino has picked up another buff, and as we just slowly keep around here, there's even more torpedoes coming in. So again, we're not in a rush here. We give our Kleber time, we give our Yoshino time, and we can steadily come around the island. So that's the importance of being patient. You've seen us use the depth charges throughout the battle, help giving us an idea of maybe where some enemy ships may be. And that's very helpful to do with the Conqueror, because you have 11-kilometer anti-submarine warfare ASW depth charge strikes. And we also want to utilize that when we can, of course. And you can see on the minimap that it points out 11 kilometers. The Minotaur comes out a little too far. Granted, he doesn't exactly know where we are, but we get the HE Citadel with 5 pins, and we polish him off, because you can easily Citadel a Minotaur with the HE of a Conqueror, because if you use AP, you're just going to overpin, like I said earlier in the battle. So this has been a fantastic battle, going the mileage, and it's just been really nice to have a game like this. So even though this is my first game in the Conqueror, the ship, it feels very comfortable to me. It's, I mean, pretty standard. You don't have a unique set of consumables, but outside of this, the specialized repair party, you don't get spotter, hydro, anything like that. Excuse me. But what you do get is pretty good guns with great high explosive, great fire setting chance, and great AP with a specialized repair party. And you can see even our main battery gun range extends out to 24.3 kilometers. So even here in the middle of the map, you can see we can hit pretty much anything on this map except the corners. Now the Z42 pulls his speed here, so that's why I aimed back a little further, but he does it a little bit more, so we unfortunately don't pick up our Kraken Unleashed. But our friendly Kleber is going to get the kill here and getting his high caliber. So I was very happy for that, as he did a really good job throughout this entire battle. So we're going to end with 185,000 damage and having a Dreadnought. Conqueror prints Dreadnoughts. So if you were wanting to get an achievement or something, or maybe you're working on a campaign mission and you need Dreadnought, Conqueror is really ideal, I would say, in my opinion, to utilize. And and getting your said dreadnought. So we did 12 fires. You can see our Kleber did 2,582 base XP. We did 2,524. And then the enemy Minotaur, even though he lost with his amount of base XP, he actually would have scored third on our team. And here you can see the purple clan tags, and that gives you the idea of that you're dealing with the Unicum clan. So if you pay attention to that enough, you'll begin remembering them when you start a match, just like we did here. So almost 2.6 million potential damage. We received 170,000 damage. I actually had a battle last night where I received 197,000 damage and 4.7 million potential damage in the Conqueror. So I'm going to show that battle probably next week. It was a really good game. Slightly frustrating, but a really good game. So this is the Conqueror. Tomorrow I'll do an upgrade and commander build video of the Conqueror and commander. So we'll break down the ship, we'll look at the armor, talk about the ship's playstyle. We will go over the next video I'm going to do with Conqueror next week, the battle I was referencing, and we'll talk more about the playstyle of Conqueror. I didn't really do that so much in this game just because it was a really good game with a lot happening. But we will look at multiple things with the Conqueror in Saturday's video, tomorrow's video. So if you liked today's video, give it a thumbs up. If you did not, give it a thumbs down. Subscribe if you do want to see more. If you subscribe, thanks so much. And big shout out to players on the enemy team and players on our team, the ones who carried, and the enemy players that did a really good job on their team. Hats off. It was a fantastic game that I really enjoyed in my first randoms battle here in the Conqueror. So until next time, take care.